Hello, welcome to Foraging for Balance, and thank you for tuning in today to join me for this hour-long spine-focused yin session. So I invite you to find a comfortable seated position and perhaps close the eyes or at least soften your gaze. We're going to start by just checking in. Notice how you're feeling from head to toe, especially along the spine. Okay, no need to change anything right now. Just notice how it's feeling. Sometimes when we slow down and really take time to listen to our bodies, we might notice things that we don't as we're rushing from thing to thing during our day. All right. Now I'd like you to bring your focus to your breath, noticing the gentle in and out. And see if you can lengthen your exhales. Try to get them twice as long as your inhales. It's a really relaxing breathing technique, but don't force it because that would be counterproductive. So you can keep that breathing going, or you can let go of that technique. If you'd like to set an intention for your session today, go ahead and do that now. Could be something small, like I will stay present in my poses, or it could be a bigger goal, such as spreading love through the world. Okay, got it? Beautiful. From here, I invite you to open up your eyes, and we are going to go into our first asana. And this one's going to be a little intense for our yin practice, but it's going to help our spines. So I want you to make your way to a standing position. Okay. And then step your feet a little bit about shoulder width apart, toes angled out 45 degrees. Bend the knees slightly. We're going to fold forward, grab opposite elbows, and dangle. Okay. Try to relax your head here. And we're just really letting our spine lengthen. You can bend your knees as much or as little as you like to be comfortable here. Now in yin, there is going to be a lot of quiet time. Take that time to really tune into your body and what you're feeling. If your mind starts to wander, you can try to bring it back to your breath, back to your body, or back to the intention that you set today. can release your elbows if you're holding opposite elbows. We're going to come back up to standing. So you can either hinge up from the hips or you can roll up depending on what feels good for you. All right, from here, we're going to head into a squat. So I want you to sit your hips back and down, bringing the hands together at the heart. And we're going to bring the elbows to the inside of the knees. You're going to press into your legs as much as they're pressing into you. You may choose to support your bottom by sitting on a block, bolster, or cushion. All right. And if you need to do a little adjusting, go ahead and do that. Maybe you need your feet a little closer or a little farther apart. Try to keep the torso nice and tall, long, lengthening through the spine. We're about halfway through our squat here. Are you still in the moment? Still focusing on your body and your breath? Or has your mind started to wander? Let's take one more big breath here. And then find your way to seated on the floor. So if you're a little higher up, you might want to come forward onto your hands and then bring your knees underneath you. If you're really low in your squat, you might be able to just sit back and find that seated position. From here, we're going to do some half butterflies. So I want you to extend your right leg out at about a 45-degree angle. Bend your left leg so your foot comes to the inside of your right leg. Okay. And then let's turn and face our right leg. Fold forward over it, reaching for those toes, taking anything that comes your way. And notice where you're feeling the stretch. Sometimes a great strategy in yin is to imagine your breath flowing to the area of stretch and exhaling out any of that tension. Just helps keep us focused on our bodies and what we're feeling. Now as you sit here in the pose, your body might relax and you might be able to go a little further. If that's the case, go ahead. Sink a little more into it. Sometimes the opposite happens. And you start out in a pose and you're like, this feels like the right amount of stretch for me. And your body decides after a minute or two, that's too much. If that happens to you, feel free to back out of it. There's nothing wrong with that. inhale, let's bring the torso up again. And then we are going to fold right up the middle between our legs, okay? Let's come up the middle in our half butterflies. If you want, you could rest on a blanket or bolster if you are not low enough to come all the way down to the floor with your elbows comfortably. Always listen to your body and what it needs in these poses. Some days you might be looking for a deep stretch and your body might be ready for it. Some days you might just need to do the practice in order to calm the mind. One more breath here. And next, inhale, bring that torso up nice and tall. So we're going to switch sides now. So we're going to bend that right knee, bringing that right foot in, extend that left leg out about 45 degrees. Right foot comes to the inside of the left leg. Let's turn our torso to look over that left leg and fold it forward. Know that you might be very different from one side to the other, and that's perfectly fine. We're not symmetrical beings as much as we try to be, okay? Breathe into that pose, finding the right amount of stretch for you. We're not trying to stretch as hard as we can. We're trying to find a stretch, and that's probably good. We don't want to make it really intense or hard to hold. Gentle works wonderfully. We're about halfway there. next inhale, let's bring the torso up, and we'll go up the middle again. Okay. Again, if you want to rest on a blanket or bolster, go ahead and do that. You might be different from one side to the other. One side you may have chosen a bolster, but the other side might be more open, more relaxed, and you might not need one. Try to settle in here. Just a few more breaths here. All right, on your next inhale, let's bring the torso up. If you were using a support, we can move that out of the way. We're gonna head to butterfly now. So bending both knees, soles of the feet together. Remember to really lengthen through the spine. I want you to think of your upper body as one unit, okay? So we're gonna take the whole upper body forward as one piece. So if your knees are up really high, we might just be working on opening them up a little bit more, using gravity, using our muscles, and just relaxing into it. If your knees are already pretty open, we can go to that hinging forward, finding that hinge from the hips, keeping ears in line with the shoulders. We want to bring that whole piece, spine together as one piece, lengthening from the crown of your head down to the tailbone. Where's your mind right now? Is it focusing on where you're feeling the pose, staying in this present moment? Or is it trying to escape and go somewhere else? If it is, let's try to bring it back, noticing what we're feeling. Maybe focus on directing the breath to those areas. Yes, I know it can't actually go there, but for many it's a helpful visual. And in your next inhale, let's bring the torso up if you were hinged forward. Then everybody, hands under the knees, bring the knees together. Put your hands on the floor to support you. We're gonna windshield wiper. So just move those legs side to side like a windshield wiper on a car. All right, from here, we're going to head into caterpillar, or think of it as a seated forward fold. So if you're not already, I would turn to face the short edge of your mat and extend your legs long. Okay, from here, we're just gonna fold forward. And you can really relax into it. And you might even want to grab a prop again. So we're gonna fold forward. Reaching for those toes. You can use a prop to support you or not. Take whatever comes your way. There's no magic at your toes. Focus on the length here. So we're lengthening through the back of our legs. We're also lengthening through the spine. Right, on your next inhale, let's bring our torsos up. You can set any props aside. And we're going to counteract our caterpillar with a little reverse table chop. So why don't you bend your knees, bringing feet flat on the floor, hands on the floor behind you, fingertips facing you. Inhale, press your feet into the mat, lift your hips. You want to be a nice flat table. All right, let's release. And then from here, make your way onto hands and knees. So tip knees to one side. I kind of sit over to that side and rock forward, bringing hands underneath shoulders, hips under knees, and we're going to go into Swan. So if you know that maybe you have really sensitive knees or really, really tight hips, you might want to do a supine swan. So let me demo a supine swan really quickly. So supine, we're going to start on our back, knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Take your right ankle to left knee and lift your left foot, bringing your legs toward you, reaching around to the back of that left leg. All right. If we're doing it upright, let's bring our right knee toward our right wrist, rotating that right ankle toward the left wrist. And you can rotate it just a tiny bit or a lot. Just depends on how you're built and how it feels to you. And we're going to sink the left hip back. All right. And since we're working on spines today, I want you to think long, and then we are slightly arched back here. So it's a little bit of a back bend, but always bring length to your back bends. And if at any time this is too much, holding it up here, you can feel free to calm down. You'll just lose that back bend. And that's okay. It'll be more of a hip focus then. We're about halfway through this. All right, if you are supine, I want you to release your legs, letting your left foot back on the mat, uncross, bring your right foot to the mat, and then switch sides, bringing left ankle to right knee and lifting the right foot off the floor. If you're in this upright version, I want you to slide your left knee forward a little bit and then press back to tabletop. And we'll switch sides, bringing left knee up to the left wrist, maybe rotating your ankle in toward the right a bit, sliding that right hip back. All right, so that's a great hip stretch. Finding the front of the hip on your right side, the outside of the hip on the left side, And know that you're going to feel it where you are tightest. So if I say, hey, you could feel it here or here, maybe you feel it in one and not the other, maybe you feel it in both. Remember to really lengthen the spine. And see if you can find some amount of ease in this pose. All right, if you're supine, let's let go of your leg, letting your foot come to the mat, uncross, bringing both feet to the mat, and I want you to roll onto your stomach. I'll meet you there in a bit. If you're in this upright swan, let's slide that right knee forward a bit. Bring the left knee back, finding tabletop. Right, and then we are going to lower down to the floor. So maybe shift forward into kind of a kneeling plank. Drop it down. All right, from here, I want you to bring your right knee up and out to the right. Right foot straight back from the knee. Hopefully you can see that. It looks like this, but on the floor. All right. Then you can stay lying down like this. It stretches the inside of your leg, and depending on how much your hip is twisted, it might be a little bit of a spinal twist. Or option to come up into a Sphinx. So elbows under shoulders, forearms on the mat, palms facing down. And we've added a bit of a back bend. You want to make sure you're pressing into the mat, not end up slumped with shoulders by ears. And we want to press into the mat, bringing our ears up away from the shoulders. This can get pretty tiring, so if it does for you, feel free to come on down for a bit. And you can stay down here or maybe pop back up. Okay, make the pose work for you, for your body, and what you feel like today. we've got a little less than a minute to go. All right, let's lower your torso down if you're lifted. Everybody send your right leg back so both legs are behind you. And we'll take it to the other side. So bring the left knee up and out to the left. You want your ankle back from the knee. Okay. If this ever gets uncomfortable, I should have mentioned on the first side, feel free to pop a blanket under there because sometimes the floor can be a little hard on the inside of your knee. All right, so again, you can stay down here, finding some relaxation. You can pop it up into Sphinx, elbows under shoulders, forearms on the mat, shoulder width apart. Or you can travel between those two options as you feel fit. All right, if you're up, let's lower down. Send both feet back behind you. And I want you to roll onto your back. Making sure you have plenty of space. All right, so once you're rolled down on your mat, I want you to take your arms overhead. Take a big full body stretch. And then we're going to turn into our curvy bananas. So take feet and hands over to the right side of your mat. Maybe crossing left ankle over right. That'll give you more of a stretch over on the outside of your hip here. And we're, bending our spine, finding some lateral flexion and extension here. Are you staying in the present moment? Imagine your breath filling up this left side of your body that's being kind of stretched. Two more breaths. And then release, coming back to center. And we'll take our big curvy banana to the other side. So feet and hands move over to the left side of your mat. Maybe crossing right ankle over left. Breathe into the stretch, staying present in your body. One more breath here. And then release, coming back to center. Bring your arms down by your sides. Bend the knees, bringing feet flat on the floor. And then we'll tuck our knees into our chest. Hands come to kneecaps. Let's just circle our knees, giving ourselves a nice little back massage. Last time. And then let's reverse those circles. Okay, last one. Finish it up. Then you can release, letting feet come back down to the floor. Then let's extend our arms out to the sides. You can make a big T with your arms if you have enough space, or if you're a little space challenged, you can cactus the arms. Okay. From here, let's drop our knees over to the right. So we're going into a supine twist. And then look to your left. So you can carry that twist all the way from the base of the spine up to the base of the skull. If you need to, feel free to add a blanket or bolster to support your knees if they're not comfortable where they're at. Notice what you feel in this twist. All right, on your next inhale, let's bring your knees and gaze to the ceiling. Then exhale, let your knees fall to the left as you turn and look to your right. Take a moment to notice how this side feels compared to your first side. No judging, but just notice if there's a little more ease twisting to one side versus the other. Especially notice how your body feels along the spine. next inhale, let's bring knees and gaze to the ceiling. And then we're going to settle in for a Shavasana. So maybe extend your legs long, taking your legs slightly apart, letting your feet fall in or out, whatever is most comfortable for you. Arms down near your sides, palms up. If you need any props, maybe a blanket because you're getting chilly, maybe a little neck or head support, go ahead and set yourself up with those now to be as comfortable as you can be. Right? You stay there. I invite you to soften your gaze or maybe close your eyes completely. Inhale, letting your breath wash through you. Exhale out any tension that remains in your body. We're going to take the next few minutes to just relax and be here. Try to let yourself melt into the mat, letting go completely, knowing that the mat and the floor are there to support you. Your mind may wander, and that's okay. But if it does, try to bring your focus back to your breathing. We'll have plenty of time for all that other stuff after our practice is complete. Right, so I'll give you a few minutes in silence and then I'll guide you back out. invite you to make your next breath a little deeper and maybe let it out with a sigh. Feel the mat underneath you. Maybe bring some gentle movements back to your body, moving fingers and toes or rotating legs in and out, or anything else that feels good to you in this moment. And when you're ready, let's bend your knees, bringing feet flat on the floor, and roll to one side, pausing there to take several breaths. When you're ready, press into the mat, bringing yourself up to a comfortable seated position. From here, let's seal our practice, bringing arms out to the side, palms up. Inhale, scoop up all the positivity you gained from today's session. Exhale, bring it down to your heart. I wish you peace, love, and happiness. Thank you for sharing this experience with me. All right, if you made it this far, I hope you enjoyed that session. And if you did, please subscribe to my channel, Forging for Balance, so we can hang out some more and do some more yoga together. Bye.